Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, representing Team King of Games, of course. And today I'm going to go over an update, probably my final update before I change the deck completely, on my current build of Gym Knights. Deck's pretty savage. Like I said in the combo video, I've been playing the deck for just about 8 years now, and it's been through so many changes I can't even count. Just like the Herald deck, it changes like every other day. Right now, I'm currently playing around with more or less a stun build. It's focused on spamming the board with firewalls and also providing protection with the barrier statue and also the Kawakimaru Overload and, you know, the Kawakimaru Guardian, which just makes sure that the board is going to be that much more difficult to break. The best board, one of the best boards that's ever spit out was definitely the firewalls co-linked to the Tri-Gate with the Baguska and also the Earth Barrier statue that got special summoned from the hand off of Firewall. That board to me was, you can't special summon. Tri-Gate's got at least one negate, and I've got at least one life bounce with Firewall, because I did use 2 of the Firewalls mid combo to make the board better. So let's hop into the deck profile and show you how interesting it is. So starting off with monsters, you're playing the best monster in the deck. This is the Spiral Master Plan. You're trying to resolve this card as much as possible and just get all the fodder out of your deck, and also it helps you, it digs the monsters out of your deck so that you have a higher chance of drawing your spells, which your spells more or less are the make or break kind of cards, because if you open up with monsters and no spells in this deck, you kind of just lose like automatically. So it's a fragile playstyle, but when it gets rolling and it does the job right, it can beat anything. It's really cool how such a low tier deck can make boards that pretty much, I can only think that Spirals and Lightsworns are the only decks currently in the meta that can do what this deck does, because this deck is older than them. So technically speaking, this deck did it first. 2 Black Dragons, basically, he special summons itself from the hand or graveyard by banishing 3 Earth monsters from your field, graveyard, or your hand. And also, he provides protection. All your rock monsters basically just can't be destroyed, which helps for a barrier statue. All your fusions are rocks. And also, if you send from the field to the graveyard, he adds up to 3 Earth, not even Earth, up to 3 rock-type monsters from your deck to your hand whose total levels combined equal 8. He's the star of the deck. He's better than Master Plan. Then we have 3 copies of Gym Armadillo. Armadillo is the theme Stratos. He's going to get even more pricey when people start hopping on that Gym Knight FTK trend. Honestly, I already know about the FTK. I'm not sure how I feel about it, because I played Gym Knight FTK in the past when we first got the Lapis Lazuli. I want the deck to not be as fragile. Like right now, I'm not too satisfied at the fact that an Ash Blossom completely ends my turn, and it's really sad to say that Ash does do that. So I'm not sure, but this card is honestly like, you want to see it every single turn. I wish that we just had a spell that searches any gym card. That would be amazing. But we have a spell that searches any Gym Knight card. 3 copies of Obsidian. Obsidian is he's not only mandatory, but he's the best extender of the deck, because every time you fuse with him, you spit out a fusion on board and then a monster from grave to field. So you get 2 different link fodders, and you also load your grave with Earth simultaneously for Black Dragon. So the combos are just really heavy and sufficient. I like them a lot. Your graveyard is a very large pool of resources due to Black Dragon and also Gym Knight Fusion's effect. If my opponent summons Chaos Hunter on me, I really don't know what I'm going to do, aside from Scoop, if I don't already have a big enough fusion to attack over it. It's really sad. 3 copies of Gym Knight Lazuli. Lazuli, she's not as good as Obsidian, because we're in Master Rule 4, link format's a thing. It's better to get your monsters on field than it is to add them back to hand, simply because you need to summon at least 1 fusion, then normal summon 1 monster to make your Mystic Radiant in the first place. And Lazuli doesn't help you to get to that kind of state, but she does help you mid-combo to add your resources back, and also replacing the cards that you fuse, which is very important, because your fusions have to cost the bare minimum resources for you to fuse so crazy. And then we have the actual targets that Lazuli and Obsidian work on. They work on normal monsters, any normal monsters. We're playing just 3 targets for this current build. The vanillas are probably going to go up, and Unexpected Die may enter into the deck just to help me to make the Gym Knight Link monster. We may play Rescue Rabbits and all that good stuff, but basically we're playing 2 Amber and 1 Lapis. These are the best targets for the combos, because they make all the fusions that I'm playing right now. So they get anything, whereas like in the past, Garnet kind of limited me to like Citrine and stuff like that. Citrine or Zirconia. This gives me like everything. Amber's also the engine of the deck, because her effect, if she is an effect monster, because she happens to be a Gemini, you can discard a Gym Knight card, target 1 banished card, any banished card, which is really cool, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Okay, I'm sorry. It's not banish card. It's banish monster. Add that banish monster to your hand. So what you do is your combo is you special summon her from the field with Obsidian, and then you just normal summon her for a turn. Or you can do the double summon from Seraphonite. So it's too easy. When you get her effect, you normally want to add your banished Lapis in the middle of your combo towards the end. Add this back, and then summon Lapis Lazuli, burn your opponent, and if you're playing Master Diamond, make that and then kill your opponent, because you literally have 6 special summon monsters on the field. You do 3,000, 3,000. It's really, really dope how you can just go off. The deck, oh man, it's so savage. So, these are just the best targets, like I said. Then, the rest of this deck is just pure engine. This is all like the Gym Knight theme stuff. It's a very, very low count. The 3-3-3-3. This really matters, those 12 cards. And then the Black Dragon searches them all out. Then we have, for engine, we have 3 Lone Fire Blossom. You need to see your Brilliant Fusion, and you also need to see your Gym Knight Fusion. So, if you open up with Gym Knight or Brilliant Fusion, which are 6 cards out of your deck, plus one of these, either the Lone Fires or the actual Predator Plant himself, it allows you to do the combo where you do all the firewalls out of your extra deck. You pretty much spit out 14 cards from your extra deck in one turn, and you just end on whatever board. The board differentiates based on your extra deck card choices, and that's all I really could say about it. So you just, the combos cater to your playstyle more or less. And then the rest of the engine is the, the Scorpions and the Cobra. Cobra is really, really good in this deck because it actually searches Gym Knight Fusion and Brilliant Fusion. And this helps out a lot because you can't play Absorb Fusion in the current build that I'm playing because I special summon too many monsters that are not Gym Knights. So the thing with Absorb Fusion is it contradicts and it also counters my own playstyle, and it limits me so far and so severe that I couldn't even summon a simple Mrs. Radiant, which kind of sucks. Then we have the stun build, the stun portion of the deck, which is 2 copies of Kuwakimaru Guardian. I like to summon him first and then do my my Brilliant Fusion so that it won't get Ash Blossom because I can tribute him and negate the Ash. And at that point, you're winning the duel because the combo, you're making a board and your opponent has -1 hand trap, which is really, really strong. 1 copy of Overload and 1 copy of Wall. When you do your Ties of the Brethren, these are the monsters you want to special summon out from your deck. This card negates spells. This card negates any summon, normal flip, or special summon. It happens to negate anything that's not inherent. And inherent being something that gets summoned off of another card like spell or trap. Because if you let, like, for example, a fusion spell resolve, obviously it's too late to negate the summon. But he's more or less like a solemn, kind of like a pseudo-solemn warning. I like Guardian more over these cards because monster effects are a lot more prevalent. It's the only protection that my deck has from hand traps. And also, it's really, really nice to have this next to the Berry statue because your opponent can't really special summon, and then the first effect they use gets negated, then Firewall finishes the job. And these are targets. This is a search target and a Brilliant Fusion target. This is a target for your Bear statue and a target for your Block Dragon. Block Dragon searches rocks. These are all rocks. And this is a target for your Predator Plant combo. So these are cards that you don't want to draw, but if you draw any of these, you can actually still play. When you draw this one, you can't do anything with him except special summon him from your hand with Firewall and try to make a Baguska at that point. So it's all about the monsters and the spells. You play so many monsters because every one of these monsters has an interaction for a different combo. So certain combos have came up for me in the past where I'm like, dang, I wish I was playing this monster, and that's why I put them in. So that's pretty much the monster count. The spells are pretty simple. 3 Brilliant Fusion, 3 Gym Knight Fusion, the spells that you want to open up with. And if you don't open up with these, let's say you break, Ties of the Brethren fixes a lot of that. And sometimes you don't open up with a target for Ties of the Brethren. So we're also playing 2 copies of Diamond Core of Kuwakimaru to search out your rock barrier, your rock package, and also provide graveyard protection. So if they would be destroyed by anything, for the entire duration of the rest of this turn, they can't be destroyed by anything at all. So it's a really, really dope spell. I like it a lot. Like if you just open up with this simple 2 cards, you end up getting like this board right here. You can do this. You can summon all 3, and you put your opponent at a -3 because they're going to have to lose a spell, lose a summon, and then lose to an effect. So like you negate 3 cards. Or you can do what I normally do, which this is the board I go to. If you're playing True Dracos, for example, I know they're rogue. You're just going to summon this. But if you're playing any other deck, like you're just going to summon this. And it's really, really, it's a powerful kind of pseudo soft lock because they can only normal summon basically unless their whole deck special summons earth monsters. And their one normal summon gets answered to by Overload. He negates the summon, and then you can still negate monster effects, and this is still protected. And it doesn't hurt your deck because all of your fusions happen to be Earths. which is really cool. And you play a lot of Earth Link monsters. So I feel like the Tides is a really, really strong package in the deck, and it just really helps you to make other plays if you don't have your fusions, like I said. And then 2 Pot of Acquisitiveness. It's a really, really spicy tech that I wanted to try out. Because I was finding that I can't really waste my normal summon on Necroface. Not even my second normal summon on Seraphinite, using it to make the Necroface play. I couldn't do it. Like, it wasn't coming up enough, and the card was becoming too much of a brick. So I was like, man, screw this. Let's just take in the Acquisitiveness and just use this to draw and also put back a lot of the cards that you need. So that's the main deck. I apologize for the background noise. So for the extra deck, we played 2 Firewalls. I should have 3. But I actually gave up one of my Firewalls to get the Necros score so I could do a Necros deck profile because people kept asking me about it. So I basically sacrificed the Firewall to do a deck profile that I really didn't even want to do, but I feel like I had to because I want to make sure that my fans and followers are happy. 1 Trigate, 1 Guy Saber, Mrs. Radiant. Binary Sorceress is better than Proxy because it's Earth. That's the main difference with this deck. You need Earths because basically everything that's not Firewall has to be Earth. Because while you're trying to make Firewalls, you need to put Earths in your grave so that you can keep giving Block Dragon more food. Because his effective special summon himself in the graveyard is not a hard once per turn. So he makes the boards possible. Him and Obsidian are the best extenders in his deck. Like, they go so far, it's crazy. So the links, honestly, I go back and forth. Like, I wish I could play a lot more links. If my extra deck was able to have 20 cards, I know exactly how I would have it. But it kind of sucks. Then for the fusions, you don't actually fuse and then leave them. You actually fuse and then link with them. So this build is a little different. It's like a Gem Knight link deck and not a fusion deck. You just take advantage of the fact that Gem Knight fusions, and it isn't hard once per turn. You use it and you just make these and then spit these out. That's pretty much how you play in the deck. And if not, you can always just OTK with these. Like, I put a lot of pressure on the board. I play tested this against my homeboy True Dracos. I basically baited his Masterpiece out with Brilliant Fusion. I made Mrs. Radiant. I put this guy right there under Mrs. Radiant, under his column. I discarded with his effect, popped the Dragonic Diagram, crashed this into Masterpiece, tack for 19. Right after that, he drew his 1 card because he used all of his resources. He top decked at that point. He just scooped. So like there's plays you can make without the full combo and all that, and without Block Dragon, but they're so mediocre that you'll notice the difference. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the fusions. If you're wondering how do you make Seraphinite, minus the light monster that I do play in my deck, Lady Brilliant Diamond contribute herself and special summon any Gem Knight from your extra deck, which is really, really cool. And then the Invoker, this should be Invoker Baguska, but it's like a space issue. This deck makes Baguska really easy, and it makes the Invoker really easy. The problem is right now I had to pick between which one, and I was like, Invoker, just so I can get more value out of the Predaplant. And in the future, we'll find some way to make space for Baguska. But then again, the deck is actually going to change as soon as Extreme Force is legal. So yeah, this is probably the last time I'm going to be playing with this build, even though this build's really, really dope. And it's spicy, and I like how it has all those techs, those clutch cards. But that's the deck profile. God bless you guys. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells, and stay tuned for future content. Peace.